Imonar kicks off the first upscale difficulty boss in Antorus. There's a little more nuance in your ability to perform, and Enhancement is great here, with it being a single target oriented boss with some utility requirements that we suit perfectly, alongside cooldowns that often will line up well enough to give us a good showing between the platforms. First and foremost is tier 30 talents as always, and that is a lock-in on Windrush. Rainfall can help a little bit with healing, and Lunge can have some small benefits, but being able to Windrush players across the bridge is a vital benefit that your raid is going to be able to build around, especially given that you can place it proactively ahead of the group, which should be coordinated with the other movement tools that your raid has and your wall at gateway usage, so that additional speed is always covered on the bridge to make it as brief as possible to reduce the raid damage coming in. Second, defense and mobility have some relatively strict uses here in a lot of cases. Firstly, movement should be used to make sure that you can make it out of range of other players with a sleep canister or a charged blast cast on you consistently. Otherwise, if absolutely necessary and it's available, you can use it to cross the bridge to cover any period where you may not have a speed boost. Although Ghost Wolf can generally cover that alongside raid-wide tools that are being used. Astral Shift has a couple of strict gain moments. Firstly, if you transition to the bridge with a charged blast dot applied to you, you should immediately use this to survive the additional damage over time, as combining this with the additional static raid damage that's going on is potentially very lethal. Otherwise, you should use it liberally when crossing the bridge to reduce the risk, or if you have any other mechanics that are applied to you during the fight that make you feel like you're vulnerable, such as a mine that applies to you and you're getting hit by electrocute. Ghost Wolf should be used on the bridge and if in desperate need of speed to get out of the canister range. This isn't something that you should really be too worried about jumping into. It's not that much of a DPS loss, but it is a massive gain in reliability on the boss mechanics. Third is your DPS optimization. On Imonar, you generally should be using your cooldowns as frequently as possible, which breaks a slight rule that even if it has the potential for a little bit of waste with him flying away before they're used, you can capitalize on the CD timers during the bridge window that is relevant to make sure you get at least one extra cast over the course of the fight, because if they're off cooldown and you're running across the bridge, you're gaining nothing when you're doing that. Make sure as well to deactivate Fury of Air whilst crossing the bridge, mostly to avoid unwanted Ascendance procs from your gloves that will be wasted as you cross, which is particularly unpleasant. Finally, the last tips I can give: make sure that you have your movement plan for the bridge. This is really important, and this isn't just on you, this is your raid as well. You want to have your Windrush placements in mind and ready for where you're going to be placing them and which bridges you're going to be using them on, and coordinate that with other Shaman or Roars or whatever in your raid. And also make sure that you know when you're using the gateway and on which bridge to cross as efficiently and safely as possible to re-engage the boss each platform as quickly as possible, which is going to ultimately make the kill much more consistent. That covers the first entry into the exhaust with Imonar, and up next is my personal favourite in Antorus with a lot of different optimizations, which is Kingaroth, coming up next.